Okie dokie, it's time for the next special guest now. We have Liam from the Retro Video Club. They're a band doing the rounds at the moment on the radio. Welcome to the show, Liam. How are we doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. It's great to have you on. Just here to talk about your new single, but just kind of rewind it back to how you all guys met, really. How did you come across each of us paths and how did you come up with the name for the band?
So me and Sam, the guitar player, are cousins in the band, and we started making some demos, and then we put a School of Rock advert
Yeah.
and the on like a Facebook musicians wanted page, and we got Michael on board, and we knew Kieran from another band, and started to just kind of play some songs together, and the name came about from me getting the bus to the local, like say the local music shop when I was younger, and it always used to stop outside this like old video store called Vogue Video. It's not there anymore. And I always used to think, how does that place stay open in the middle of Edinburgh selling like VCRs? And it was just a sort of memory that stuck with me every time I would go to the music store. So it kind of just made sense. And I mean, we threw some names about like retro video store or retro video whatever, and we felt that we needed something that pertained to a club, so retro video club was born.
It's great. It's a retro but cool name. Going back to the days, Blockbuster Video, we had to be a member of the, hiring, VHSs, films.
uh,
So
Blockbusters and all that.
yeah,
It's
great.
also an anagram of VCR,
Yes,
which is quite cool that
that's good.
someone pointed out.
And your latest single as well, Cloud Nine, is it a song about elation? Being on top of the world.
It's a song about I suppose it's a song about being on top of the world, but also wanting to profess your kind of love for an ex, or
Yeah. Oh,
like
okay.
just that kind of thing. It's about just about kind of the person you want to phone
Hmm.
whenever you're flying. When you're one too many, and
Hmm.
that's effectively that's what it's about, mate.
And does it try to capture the golden era of the second wave of indie music, which was quite prominent in the mid 2000s? You had Franz Ferdinand and the Strokes and the Arctic Monkeys. Does it kind of try and capture that kind of era?
I suppose it's a bit like that. I mean, it's kind of a bit. We've went a bit more polished on this song, perhaps, than we had on some others. So it feels like it's a more kind of glossy
Yeah.
production, as opposed to the kind of raucous um, productions of the previous song. So yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely nods to that time because we were brought up on that music. So I think there's nods to that, but I also think there's maybe a bit sort of shinier than
Yeah.
some of those ones.
Bit more current as well. Bring it
I
to,
think so,
yeah.
if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, no problem. And do you use synths as well with the songs? That seems to be another avenue, kind of indie bands kind of experimenting, synthesizers mixing with like, the classic guitar.
Yeah, I mean, we are I mean, there are synths in this one, and the ones that are coming. There's
Mm.
there's even more, but it's at the heart of it is still like the retro video club formula,
Yeah.
kind of where it's like the sort of heavy guitars and bass and drums and stuff, and I just think that bands are kind of being forced to experiment now. I just because music is so saturated, you have to find wee ways to kind of break out of the mold and
Hmm.
the pigeonhole that bands get put in.
Sure, it's kind of like a factory out there at the moment. So much music having to be
I know.
the pressure of having to constantly release music. Um, but you have an exciting tour coming up in Glasgow. Is it 26th of August at the SWG4?
Well, SWG3 actually,
Okay.
but SWG3 in Glasgow, which is our biggest show to date, um, which is 1,300 capacity.
Hmm.
So that's sort of one step away from Barrowlands.
So yes, we're kind of getting there now with live music, and I know you penciled in for Birmingham, my neck of the woods, the Sunflower Lounge on the 25th of November.
That's right. Yeah, we are indeed. That whole tour has been rescheduled. So fingers crossed that'll go ahead, and we can get down there.
And how have you found the COVID pandemic? Has it been quite a precarious time for the arts industry in general?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think it has been obviously, but we've been afforded the privilege of getting down and recording songs and stuff, and being kind of afforded the time to really work on the songs, and get ahead of the game with regards to what we've recorded. I mean, we're now into 2022 for music. All this year's music's tied up, so it's kind of a good place to be in. So it's a silver lining, I guess.
Yeah, sure. And like the time you've had, which would have been done like behind the scenes recording, you use that time in that pandemic last year to your advantage.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we were supposed to go on this tour, the November tour, in March 2020, and I think our first show was the day of like the national lockdown, like quarantine thing. So quite unlucky, and it's been rescheduled a few times, but we just kind of used it to really work in the studio and work on the songs, and I kind of think it's paid dividends.
That's good. I'm glad it's worked out in the end for you. And I like the album art on your new single as well, Cloud Nine. Has it got a story? Does it tell a story? I know it kind of looks like mirrors, reflections on the album art, the cover.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what we're kind of running with is this kind of like video boxy type of vibe. So the tour poster just looks like it could be straight from like a 90s VHS box. I mean, even the logo, we actually done some mood boards on fonts that they used on those kind of boxes and stuff. So it's very much geared towards that, and it's interesting. The artwork. It's a guy called Mike Lithgow that does it, and it's kind of those like 3-dimensional shapes and then also 2-dimensional shapes that you would get on those VHS boxes. So it's very much in that realm, and just keeping that continuity going.
Lovely, and we're going to play one of your tracks now, Cloud Nine, any second now. Just want to say thank you for joining me on the Danny Sun syndicated shows. We had Liam from the Retro Video Club, and all the best for the rest of the year as well with your music.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.